One of the new options in DeskProto version 8 is laser engraving. That's a completely new application for us. So far we only use CNC milling, CNC machining. But now we have a machine that with a laser, so we could create this tutorial video. And first I want to show on our website the tips and tricks pages as there. Here for CNC machines, you can see tips and tricks for a number of machines, including machines with laser support. The machine that we have is a Saint Smart Genmitsu machine, and here you see the support for the laser engraving option. But okay, we will use this in the tutorial. Saint Smart is a garble-based machine, so GRBL, garble. So these tips will in fact be valid for any garble-based machine. Okay, further about laser engraving. DeskProto supports laser engraving for vector machining. So you need a drawing with lines where the laser follows the lines to draw them on your material. That in contrast to bitmap machining, where you use a bitmap like a photo to be engraved. So you need a vector drawing, and the vector drawing that we used comes from this website, freepik.com, and Freepik kindly allows to use their data, their CAD, their designs when you mention them as source, like we do now. So we use this flower arrangement, this flower drawing to engrave, to do our first engraving test in this video. First thing that we needed to do, by the way, was edit the vector curves, as here this stem of the flower is also present in the SVG, in the scalable vector graphics data file. So we need to edit that in order to create the result that we want. Okay, so we use this drawing, and we will now start DeskProto and open that drawing in DeskProto. Here it is, DeskProto version 8. Previous versions do not support laser engraving. I want to use the entry edition. The free edition supports laser engraving. However, as explained for this project, we need pocketing toolpath, and these are only available in one of the paid editions. So I'll use this simplest paid edition. Start, I want to use the wizard. The machine that I want to use with a laser head already has been selected. A vector machine, that's okay as well. So I press next, and then I browse my CAD data. As always, that's the first step. It's on the desktop somewhere here. Yes, the edited version of the flower, as just explained. This is the image we want to engrave, and I found that the block of wood that I have is a bit too small, so I need to do some scaling. I reduce the height to 60 millimeters, and the width will be scaled as well. The Z settings, the machining depth is not relevant as we want to do laser engraving, so I can press next. The block size, custom, my block is 50 times 95 times 20 millimeters. In the entry edition you cannot set the position of the 0 point. It's here on the corner of the block, which is fine. So on different editions of DeskProto you will see more settings on this wizard page. Next. Obviously I need to select a laser cutter to do laser engraving, and for our machine the laser has a curve of 1/10 of a millimeter, so that's the cutter I want to select. Okay, you need to know what you're doing. It's different from a normal cutter. For our first test I left feed rate and S value. S value is a laser power with a laser cutter on the default values, which worked out fine, so I keep them as they are. I want to use pocketing as said, and a step over, so of 50%, so the toolpath will overlap each other. These are not relevant for laser cutter, so I'll calculate the toolpath, and here we are. The lines that need to be black are nicely filled with toolpath. That's okay. I can press next, and I already showed the toolpath. I can show a simulation. What a simulation does is make a groove of 1/10 of a millimeter deep for a laser cutter, as you can see here. So that's fine, not relevant for now. However, before I can write an NC program, I see there's one more thing I need to change: the positioning height for each positioning movement. Now the cutter, the cutter will rise 5 millimeters and then go down to the top of the material again, which is not needed. So I want to, before I write the NC program file, I need to correct that, and that will significantly influence the machining time. Let's check that. Estimate machining time, it says it's now about 22 minutes. And when I reduce this positioning height, it's in the vector parameters, Z settings, instead of 5 millimeters, I reduce that to 0. Obviously, new calculations are needed. So here you see no vertical movements, and the estimated machining time has been reduced from 22 to 9 minutes. So that's a very large improvement in machining time. Okay, now I can save the NC program file. I'll call it flower. Yes, and with that file I will go to the machine. On this machine, for laser engraving, you need to remove the complete spindle motor and mount the laser engraving unit, and obviously make the connection to the controller. And an important thing is that in the control software, we use here, as you see, the candle software, you need to give a command, a dollar command here, and it is $32 equal, oh, it's already there, equals 1. And that is the command when we now send it to the Garble controller to put the command that puts the machine in laser mode. It's a bit weird way of configuring a machine, however, it works. So now the machine is in laser mode, and we can nicely move it to the block that we attached using the controls. And when it's there, we set the 0 point. Or I forgot to mention that obviously when starting you need to first home your machine, but then you move to the corner of the block. In this case, you set the XY 0, and then you lower the laser cutter, and this machine comes with a nice aluminum tool to set the correct focus distance at 30 millimeters above the block. And when you've reached that, you can set the 0 position. The next step is to open the file. This is the file that we created in DeskProto, and then we can send it to the machine and see what happens. Well, this is the resulting laser engraved part. As you can see, nice dark brow lines, a very clear image. This was done using the default settings, so a speed value of 500 millimeters per second and a laser value, a laser power, the S value at 500, which is exactly halfway the range of 0 to 1000. And another important setting, the overlap between the toolpath was 50%, so there is 50% overlap. You can see, for instance, on the other side, we engraved the DeskProto logo with the same S value, same feed rate, however, with 100% distance between the toolpath, so no overlap. So here the color is lighter than on this one. And the third setting that you can use in DeskProto to influence the darkness is the pass count. You can tell DeskProto to do all toolpaths twice or 3 times or whatever you like. But for this wood type, this result is great. Perhaps you will have to experiment on your own machine, but there are sufficient settings to make sure that you achieve the result that you need. So we wish you a lot of fun with laser engraving with the DeskProto software. Thanks for watching.